I'm so excited to bring you the next installment of the Celtic Magdalene series, where we're exploring the Magdalene tradition and lineages that connect into the ancient British Isles. So Mary Magdalene, one of the most interesting, intriguing, and fascinating figures from history, someone who is so near and dear to my own heart, I'm sure, like many of all of you out there. But it might be surprising to know that her story, especially her story after the crucifixion, historically is far from settled, and there's many different viewpoints, many different perspectives, many different traditions that seek to tell this story. And this is why I wanted to bring out the Celtic Magdalene series, is to tell the stories, the histories, the traditions that link her into the ancient British Isles, and specifically into the ancient Druidic wisdom that was found on these lands, and how that truly created the first and one of the oldest church traditions out there, the Celtic Church. So that's what we did in Volume 1 of the Celtic Magdalene, and now that Volume 2 is here, we get to continue that really exciting storytelling and history journey into this lineage. This lineage which brings together Mary Magdalene, the ancient Druidic high priestesses, as well as the first female saints of Celtic Christianity. We're going to really dive into how these different areas blended and merged together over the centuries and created the foundations of the Celtic Church, and how we can draw on this ancient Druidic earth-based wisdom to better understand what the Sophia is, what is the Sophian Christ energy, and how we can bring that more into our lives, and hopefully to better come to know who and what Mary Magdalene was and still is, and how this tradition has a rich history in the British Isles. So we're going to be looking at areas like the prophetesses, the oracles, the seers of early Celtic Christianity, and how this group of women were influenced by the ancient Druidic oracles. We're going to be looking at the keepers of the waters, the holy wells and the springs, looking at the Druidic women who kept and held sacred, who guarded these sacred springs and wells, and how that directly influenced early Celtic Christianity. We're going to be looking at the ones who tended the energies and the mysteries of the land, both from a Druidic perspective as well, again, as the early Celtic Christians, because they understood these energy points and these energy centers were so important for worship and bringing God down to the earth. We're going to be looking at the concept of the Grail and what makes a Grail keeper. We're going to be looking at the feminine nature traditions of the Druids, especially the different trees that are connected to these feminine wisdom traditions. And we're also going to be looking at the emerald path of the Logos and the Sophia, right? This idea of Jesus and Mary Magdalene being the Logos and the Sophia, but there's rich Celtic and Druidic traditions around the union of these two. So this is going to be such an exciting and really interesting dive into these lineages, into these legends, into these histories, all around the Magdalene, and how it connects to ancient Druidic traditions, and how this truly created the foundations of Celtic Christianity, of the Celtic Church. So if you're drawn to Mary Magdalene, if you're connected to this Druidic priestess lineage, and you want to know more about this rich and incredible history, then the Celtic Magdalene series is for you. So Volume 2, it starts November 4th, and I can't wait to see all of you there.